Welcome to Module 1. This is where we lay the foundation for everything that follows. Fatigue can feel confusing, especially when there's no clear reason for it, but it reflects how your body is functioning beneath the surface. In this module, we take a step back and look at energy as a system, how it's produced, how it's regulated, and how different parts of the body work together to support it. We'll also walk through what fatigue isn't, and clear up some of the common explanations that don't fully explain what's going on. By the end of this module, you'll have a clearer picture of how energy works in the body, so everything else you learn later has context. In this module, we'll talk about what energy actually represents in the body, not just feeling awake, but how your systems communicate and stay in rhythm. You'll learn the most common patterns that make energy feel unpredictable or drained, even when your labs look normal. And finally, we'll look at how to tell when fatigue reflects a shift in your body's rhythms rather than a medical disease, so you can understand what's happening with clarity instead of confusion. Energy is something you feel, but it starts as a biological process. Underneath that feeling, your body is constantly taking in oxygen and nutrients and turning them into usable fuel. This happens inside tiny structures in your cells called mitochondria, and it's going on continuously in every tissue in your body. That fuel supports everything you do throughout the day. It helps you think clearly, move your body, digest food, repair tissue, and regulate temperature. Different parts of your body use energy in different ways. Your brain, muscles, and organs are all drawing from the same system, but their demands shift depending on what you're doing. Because of that, energy production is always adjusting. It increases during periods of higher mental or physical activity and eases when demand is lower. When your energy feels different from one moment to the next, that change reflects how your body is responding to timing, context, and the overall demands placed on it. Energy regulation emerges from coordinated activity between the brain, nervous system, hormones, and tissues. The brain plays a central role by integrating information from both the internal and external environment. It helps establish baseline levels of alertness and attention, and it influences how energy use is prioritized across different tissues. A key part of this coordination involves the autonomic nervous system, the branch of the nervous system that automatically adjusts heart rate, digestion, circulation, and energy use based on context. It shifts the body between states that support activity and states that support maintenance and recovery, largely outside conscious awareness. Hormones help carry these signals forward by shaping the timing and pattern of energy use, as well as overall metabolic rate across the day. Muscles and mitochondria respond to this signaling by determining how efficiently fuel is converted into usable energy. For this coordination to remain stable, these systems rely on recurring environmental and physiological cues, including sleep timing, eating patterns, movement, and stress exposure, that provide temporal structure and predictability. Fatigue often shows up when your body's basic daily rhythms start to drift. When sleep and wake times shift, your internal clock loses some stability. When meals are delayed or inconsistent, your energy supply becomes less predictable. When stress builds without enough recovery, your system stays in a higher demand mode for longer than it can sustain. Low or sporadic movement can also reduce the signals that support steady energy. And over time, accumulating cognitive or emotional demands add another layer of strain. All of these factors make it harder for your energy system to stay consistent from day to day. Fatigue can be frustrating, especially when you're trying to make sense of what's driving it. But it's important to know what fatigue is not. It's not caused by adrenal glands wearing out, and it doesn't automatically mean there's a problem with your thyroid or metabolism. It's also not a reflection of motivation or effort, and it's rarely due to a single nutrient deficiency. Feeling fatigued doesn't point to one failing system. It tells us that the body is adjusting to internal and external demands in a way that may feel harder to sustain. Most people's fatigue follows a pattern, even when it feels unpredictable day to day. You might notice slow mornings after a late night, or a drop in focus in the afternoon after long periods of concentration. Some people feel more alert late at night, especially after a busy or stressful day. Others notice lower stamina on days with very little movement, or more cravings when there are long gaps between meals. These patterns aren't personal flaws. They reflect how your body is responding to the conditions around you. Recognizing them is the first step toward understanding your energy long before you try to change anything. Most changes in energy relate to the daily rhythms we've been talking about, but there are times when it makes sense to check in with your clinician. If your fatigue or weakness is rapidly getting worse, if you're experiencing shortness of breath or chest pain, or if you notice unintentional weight loss, it's important to get evaluated. The same is true for symptoms like persistent night sweats or fevers, significant digestive changes, heavy bleeding, new or escalating dizziness, or fainting spells. These kinds of signals can point to issues outside the scope of normal energy regulation, and your clinician can help determine what's going on. As you move forward, keep in mind that fatigue is your system's way of showing how it's managing the demands of your day. Energy is regulated by multiple pathways that adjust continuously, so feeling off doesn't mean something is damaged or failing. It also doesn't mean labs will always capture what you're experiencing. Many changes happen in how the system coordinates itself long before they show up on tests. The more familiar you become with your own patterns, the clearer the rest of this program will feel. In the next module, we'll explore why normal lab results don't always match how you feel, and how to interpret them within this broader system.